Hello, my name is Sobena Yarcheva. I work in Sofia University. The university is the national coordinator for the European network EURAXESS for Bulgaria. Sofia University is also a partner in the NEXUS project. First, I would like to invite the coordinator of the NEXUS, Sara Claveru, to introduce the project. Sara, the floor is yours.
NEXUS is an EU-funded project striving to make inclusivity a reality in the world of research and innovation. The project focuses on developing inclusive gender equality plans that span both in intersectional and intersectoral dimensions in 9 universities and in research organizations across Europe.
Today we will have a conversation with my colleague, Florian Zejewski. So please, Florian.
Yeah, hello everyone. Hello Albina. Very good to have me here. Thanks for inviting me for this interview, for this conversation. I'm very happy talking with you. I work in Sofia University in the program of EURAXESS Bulgaria. Recently joined EURAXESS Bulgaria and the University of Sofia. And Currently, I'm working on some projects related to gender equality, and I guess that's a topic we will discuss today. So my starting point to deal with gender equality issues was in my previous jobs as being an employer engagement coordinator. I work with gender inequalities in the labor market and recently did some research about gender imbalances in different countries on the career aspects of researchers. And I conducted a few trainings and seminars on these topics. So it's very nice to collaborate and to go into more details in today's talk.
Okay, great. So, what is your experience so far?
Okay, so first of all, I see a lack of male inclusion in these kind of discussions and programs. So when I was conducting interviews, for example, in the focus group, all of the participants were female, and there were no male in the focus group besides myself. And also in the trainings, there was like 80% of female researchers and students participating, and maybe just 20% male personnel, academics, and students participating. So it's a slightly imbalanced gender research or gender-based trainings, and male inclusion is on low levels, and also the opinions of male and female on these topics of gender equality seems to differ.
Thank you. So you conducted a focus group for the Era Talent project, which is under the EURAXESS network. What were your impressions? What themes emerged during the training sessions?
Yeah, it was really fascinating to conduct these focus groups in different countries and to experience like imbalances of gender equality in different settings, in different cultural contexts, and to see to which extent like gender equality initiatives are institutionalized or not institutionalized. So in case studies in Germany or Switzerland, we often experience institutionalized gender support or gender equality officers and formal courses for mentorship, supervision, or career development courses focusing on female researchers, especially. Whether in other countries you have a low institutionalization, so there's like no official programs or very few, and it's more focused on peer-to-peer help, on private initiatives, and on individual motivation. So some researchers brought up that individual strength, courage, the power to speak for yourself will help you, and like private contacts, good relationship with superiors or with the dean or other vice rectorate or rectorate seems to be having a positive impact. But you can clearly see a difference between institutionalized support or a private support. And all participants agreed that a mix of institutionalized and private support, adding with individual courage, is a good formula for a career in science, and that the workplace of universities and research is there are possibilities to make this workplace a better workplace, so that let's say family is more easily to be combined, that the contracts are more safe financially, and that projects are better funded, so that individuals, especially female researchers, will benefit more of the situations. Also comparing different subjects and their financial situation. So there were a lot of problems discussed where individuals like female researchers felt inequalities, and there were discussion about possible solution on the institutional level, on the cultural level, but also on the individual level. And an interesting finding was that the mobility itself is an advantage for gender equality. For example, if you move to other places that offer, let's say, more programs, more institutionalized support, you will also benefit and bring these ideas, this innovation back to your home university. And so mobility will benefit gender equality in long term.
Could you share some of those good practices from Switzerland and Germany, please?
The good practices from Switzerland was a program called Fixing the Leak, something like that. I'm not sure about the exact title, but I will recall it in a second. The programs in Switzerland focusing on mentorship, coaching, like group activities, seminars, workshops to support women to be in their career efforts, to have career center and the like. And for German case, it's important to. There are similar programs like in Switzerland with this mentorship and approaches. And the discussion in Germany is whether gender equality officers should work full time, or whether a manager's position should include gender equality efforts. And the arguments I heard from German professor aware that they would like to include gender equality programs into the normal task of professors, so that they have additionally the task to promote gender equality on top of their other work, instead of having, let's say, a full-time position who will work as a gender equality officer. This is quite a luxurious discussion, I would say, in Germany and Switzerland, because there are institutionalized support options for female researchers in the form of a gender equality officer, in the form of a career department focusing on gender issues, and additionally individual professors or administrative personnel that are working on behalf of gender equality issues and career advancement for women. And the discussion in Germany is focusing the direction that gender equality should be a part of all projects and all professors' responsibilities. So it should be included in the general task of rather than having an a full-time position as a gender equality officer. But I could definitely say that these discussion in Switzerland and Germany are quite a luxurious discussion because they have both institutionalized and informal ways of supporting researchers that we could learn from and that we could implement as a standard in EURAXESS network.
This is very interesting. The participants in the focus group were from different countries, and they all have different perspective on the topic. Did they share some of their problems? Or
Yeah, I I think most of them started with sharing their problems. So there is a huge number of problems that could be discussed, and it's also easily to be found in the different papers. Some of the researchers I interviewed were as well gender researchers or gender scientists, so they know a lot of research statistics and imbalances of gender in the workplace or gender-based violence, and they bring up a lot of different hard to tackle topics because it's either cultural topics, it's maybe financial situation, or it's a family situation that is difficult to combine with a university career. So the problem perspective is, I think, well researched, but it's quite difficult to switch the attitude towards positive, progressive ideas. So to implement a change, to institutionalize support or to support each other. And an interesting idea to support each other was also to include EURAXESS programs and their linkage to other universities so that, for example, gender equality programs that are established in EURAXESS network can also help to coordinate support at university on a local level.
thank you for this input. You also were the lecturer for the training Gender in Research and Gender-Based Violence in Academia in Sofia University, which was conducted under the NEXUS project. During these trainings, what challenges did the participants raise?
For the challenges in research was, for example, to include fathers in educational research environment where there was a difficulty to include fathers, but it was much easier to include mothers in research about education of special needs children, because like traditional households had a situation where the father was working and the mother has more time to be able to give interviews to researchers. So the inclusion of fathers were a problem that was being raised in the gender research program. Still, our gender research activities show a lot of interdisciplinary approaches so that gender and research is not only a topic to be discussed in education or sociology, but or psychology, but it could be included in engineering, in IT, and in other research and natural science topics to have a more widespread community of research.
Thank you. Could you share some insights on the role of such trainings in shaping the research culture and ensuring inclusive practices in academic institutions?
Yeah, thank you. Yes. I believe, first of all, the people need to come together to have an interdisciplinary approach, to talk with the colleagues from different departments. So, for example, to have a discussion about humanities and science in the same program. So, gender equality or gender in research could lead to gendered innovation. And generally, the example of like a female crash test dummy with a baby and the belly and the results of improvements in the car accidents and the engineering practices is a vivid example of this gender perspective. So to include more male researchers and enable their curiosity and empower their curiosity to find out how to engineer better products and create better services that are more inclusive, and also to see it as future market and future development and breakthrough in science, to have this approach. And so gender in research is a good measure as a topic to bring up the topic, to see how to collaborate and to bring up new questions in the research process, as well as uh, create a second analysis of already existing data. Always very interesting is to discuss medical topics like drug treatments and their results on the female and male body. And in the end, it will save lives to deal with this topic.
Yeah. Were there any surprising or unexpected insights from the participants during the trainings?
Hmm. What I feel is surprising or interesting, I would say difficulty during these kind of trainings is to have a community of male and female researchers in these groups, to understand each other's positions and perspectives better, to have an understanding of humanism so that we all create a more humane environment, and that we are not trying to play female against male or male against female in these perspectives, but to have a general humanistic approach and a value basis that we all share this ideas of humanism to start with. And I think we still have some work to do to bring more male researchers to these fields under the phrase of humanism and inclusion, and to have more cooperative meetings, and as well a higher impact on the research and on the questions at hand. Because first of all, we need to understand that there are inequalities. For example, there are care gaps, there are payment gaps, there are pension gaps, and we need to acknowledge that as evidence before we can move on to collaborate and research topics. And the other thing is the gender-based violence and also the bystander effect, to motivate the people to have the ears and the eyes everywhere and to have empathy with each other, to create an environment and innovation that is more inclusive, that is more caring, and that is more warm, empathetic, to know what's going on, to have more empathy with potential victims, and have a more like an easier access to help, like a psychological help center that is already established. But it's a good starting point, but I think also there should be some improvements in inclusion and also in a way to communicate more effectively.
How do you believe these trainings could influence the participants' day-to-day work in their academic fields?
I think first of all, it's these meetings created some groundwork to establish a psychological safe environment where we could freely share our opinions and talk freely about things that happened to us in the past, things we experienced, or things we have heard of. To bring light to a topic that is highly neglected, because first of all, everybody see like, okay, there is formalized contracts, we all get the same salary, and there is a formalized way to anonymously report incidents, so we are fine. But to look behind this kind of superficial truth and look deeper to see if there are still some problems there. And if we raise these questions, we clearly see that there is a problem behind the surface. And that a lot of women experience a difficult situation and sometimes feel insecure. And we also go through some research where we see that LGBTQ community or migrant community don't always feel safe at university, and that sometimes rumors are spreaded or shared on social media, and that these topics should be taken more seriously to create a better psychologically safe environment, and to openly discuss these topics and maybe having future events covering these issues.
Do you have anything else you want to share on this
I
topic?
think that's I think I shared a lot. I think to summarize, what's the most important thing is create or facilitate environments where we could feel psychologically safe to share these stories and to report about the things we don't report so far because we were afraid to tell others, or we were not sure if it was serious enough. I think psychological safety and the community building of female groups, and then later on to include males in a he for she program of humanism, would be the next two steps that would be important to make a progress, like a faster progress.
Thank you so much, Florian. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Stay tuned for the next episodes of our NEXUS podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Albina. Great to talk.